on his trusty Lee Sin, and Bono has to go to third and below when it comes to effective champion pool. You can consider Xin Zhao for the 1v1. Otherwise, you're probably giving up priority with something like a Zac or a Nocturne.
Is this the day for the early Rek'Sai you were talking about?
That's the thing, is people are playing it because Conqueror Rek'Sai is strong, and it's a good matchup here. And sometimes you get that bleeding over, right? If we had 9.3 for an extra week, you'd have people who were scrimming on 9.4 Rek'Sai being like, but what about the matchup against Lee? And then remembering it's not that good. I feel that way when I see LPL teams playing Corki on 9.2. I'm like, no, let's wait for that one.
No.
Instead, we do get the scaling. So we go for the level 6 jungler. It means that Lee Sin has more early options, could also be farming to level 6 next to the Nocturne. But Nocturne, and mostly because of her ultimate and the ability to be able to just take out the vision, Nocturne's still going to be a thing.
We see the return of Sivir here for Sangyun. Will be his second time on that pick. Once again, Lucian and Ezreal banned out in the first lineup alongside Vlad for champions that could go into the bottom lane in that 80 carry role, but Sangyun gonna pick this Sivir up early and make sure that it doesn't get taken away, nor banned here in game 2.
Nocturne's a he, right? I was actually unsure of that as I said that.
I think, well, you know.
Rek'Sai is a she.
You never know, right?
That's true. We'll have to ask them next time.
He has a very deep voice, but, you know, that doesn't mean too much in this day and age.
How about Sangyun going back to an 80 carry? That does mean something, because it was noted in game number 1 when he was on an awesome dude that they didn't have late game options. We wondered where good old Yasuo was, Valdez. Here he is finally. He is now actually in the trio that he wasn't picked in game number 1. So given that, we got sick knock-up synergy and Showmaker, not Tempt, potentially on this Yasuo.
Yeah, we will, that LeBlanc being hovered here, and Tempt will be hopping onto that pick before the bans do come along this time around. LeBlanc, take a look at that win rate, 76%, 13-4. Definitely one of the big picks you'll see in the mid lane nowadays.
But not with an identifiable matchup. That's the thing here, is we don't know for sure. This will be Showmaker on the pick. Nuclear could be playing bot lane Yasuo. Noguri could definitely be playing top lane Yasuo. It's not like when we have a tank player and we're like, well, he's not going to play Yasuo. Noguri could definitely consider it. You like having flex aggressive champions on DAMWON's draft, because then you don't know until 20 seconds who will be piloting which pick. Speaking of picks, Noguri doesn't get access to his Rise. There's been a big pickup in Rise play and solo queue even before 9.4 means that Conqueror Rise actually looking like a really viable pick. Next patch, Noguri is an outstanding Rise player. It's a Showmaker staple as well. So probably a smart ban, because you know on blue side, DAMWON want to have 2 to 3 picks they can flex with and then work it out later based on Hanwha Life's last pick.
No Yorick this time around. Sorry about that, guys. Did receive a loss in the first game up against that one, but how about a Shen here? You see Key nodding his head. He's always happy about his Shen. Going to probably hop back onto that one unless they do some crazy top Shen shenanigans. Haven't seen that in a while.
Does tell you that they're probably going to pick something lane dominant as the final pick here to make use of the 1-3-1 Shen porting around. DAMWON are bold enough to pick Zoe into LeBlanc, even though LeBlanc is considered a lane counter. On the DAMWON gaming side, it does seem increasingly like Nuclear might be jumping onto that Yasuo if they do lock in an Aatrox final pick. Considering their options here, could also just pick up an 80 carry if they want to. Victor, of course, could be considered for some wave clear as well if you want a non-interactive bot lane. What will the final decision be? It will be that Aatrox, so Yasuo, Alistar bot lane against Shen and Sivir. No one's really got too much early power there, but the range champion and the wave clear lead to Hanwha Life.
And now we have to wait and see what is going to be the answer to that Aatrox up in the top side. Lots of hovering here onto the Aurelia, but we haven't really seen her too much after the changes. Looks like our old good friend Urgot is back up into the top lane. Everybody's favorite there.
It's Tal's old friend, and it's also a strong pick into Aatrox. Remember, this is a 50-50 matchup that is much less 50-50 after Worlds, when we saw that being reliably the winner with the item changes, with the nerfs to Aatrox, especially in recent patches. I think Urgot has a pretty big lead in this lane, and Shen is going to be there later to give his friend a hand. So because of that, I think Tal gets away with a comfort pick for him and a good pick in lane. Nogari is a real handful on the Aatrox, and he's still playing one of the few top players next to Summit, and I believe one other player to be playing lane Aatrox. After you look at a team like Griffin, when they lock in Aatrox, you're almost 100% certain it's going to the jungle.
Yeah, certainly does feel that way. As, well, I like the strategy of Beryl, by the way. I wanted to mention this. He plays a bunch of Galio right before he's played, just so that the enemy team can't expend a band on his Alistar, and they pick it first round 2 games in a row. He looks so clean in game number 1 on the Alistar. He gets it again, and this time alongside the Yasuo, which they do prioritize a little bit more than the mid lane this time around. So really interesting stuff, and feeling pretty good about DAMWON's chances in this one. I'm feeling good about DAMWON's chances eventually, just like game 1. However, let's be a bit more dispassionate, look at lanes and say, oh, Urgot into Aatrox, nice. LeBlanc into Zoe, nice. Bot lane with a range lead, nice. There's a real potential here. The Hanwha Life are an even more potent position in the early game outside of Nocturne's level 6 requirement to get going. The organic leads in this lane might be enough for them to just open up a gold lead that Nogari's late game scaling can never cash in on like it could on Fiora, so there's no guarantees that they can cash their checks this time, DAMWON Gaming.
Comes down to the play. Let's see how it goes in game number 2. Wow. Big cheer there for our friends at Hanwha Life. Lots of fans coming down here. Definitely one of the bigger organizations that loves to market their team and even have big fan events. There was one actually at the Nexon Arena, right at the start of the LCK Spring 2019, when we weren't sure what this team was going to achieve here, especially going into Caspa Cup and losing to a not even challenger team. But it's a happy story for them so far. They'd like to continue that happy story by tying this one up, but DWG Gaming looking to shut that down.
And I think our global fans are probably going to have, understandably, very little understanding of just how big Hanwha is as a sponsor. Hanwha Life, of course, their life insurance version of a massive company up there with the international names, like Samsung, for example, and the other big, massive companies in Korea. So Hanwha Life is actually a huge sponsor to pick up the former Rocks Tigers, and they're going to obviously have the goal of making playoffs as a minimum, you would think. I'm sure that was the story last year, but they were so close. It's about getting past the 6th place position they found themselves in spring and summer, and it's about getting past some tricky laning phases for their opposition as DWG. They've got some light at the end of the tunnel, but let's see if Hanwha Life can snuff it out.
Very important game for both of these teams. You were mentioning how Hanwha Life on the cusp multiple times in a row, Rocks Tigers as well. But this is a team that they have to beat if they want to secure that spot, because these are the 2 teams that are going to be fighting for that lower end of the playoff spots. I mean, you got Griffin up at the top, you got SKT, even Sandbox still with already 7 wins. It's going to be hard for them not to make it into playoffs. I mean, 3 more wins and they're basically in, right? So not too many spots, and games like this are going to be the decider. Both of these teams, as I mentioned before this matchup, they lose to the big teams, you know, the SKTs, the Sandboxes, and the only difference is that DWG lost to Kingzone. So definitely a big game and a big win for both of these teams to pick up tonight.
And the other difference is that there's no DNA of a team that did that over the course of 2018 as well for the Rocks Tigers into Hanwha Life. That's unfortunately been their MO of slam the teams below them and just not be good enough to get above that position of 6th, 7th. That's kind of where they've currently been. So because of that, they really are trying to rewrite history, and DWG are still creating new history. They are players who, outside of Nuclear and Punch, when he's now playing in place of Canyon, have no LCK experience. So because of that, it's not as damning for them one round robin in.
So we take a look at the bottom lane so far. Has been pushed in.
Whoa.
And oh boy, trying to get this started real early. The spell shield way too early here from Songyun, but good flash away. Beryl in a lot of trouble. One more tower shot and he goes down. Can they even get the kill on a Songyun? Showmaker has to flash away. The dodge circle comes in, but he does pick up the kill in the end. Wow, what a close one. But in the end, DWG at least pick up the kill.
It was ultra close at the end. Damn, was the Spirit's Refuge clutch, because almost did Sivir get up with another kill involvement. Beryl messed up aggro pretty bad here. We'll watch the replay and understand it. Key opens with the taunt. I believe it does hit, and that means that Beryl has aggro. Of course, annoying. He hadn't used any spells by then. He actually can't do anything after the taunt, so the taunt ends up guaranteeing the kill. Watch the Spirit's Refuge, because Punch is one auto away, but can't auto attack unless it's out of range there. So just about gets the kill, but almost 3 kills out of nowhere to Hanwha Life.
And that's a very big move to make this early on in the game. Partially, you know, they had a massive wave pushing in, and maybe that's why they called for it, but to get that early of a dive off.
Well, think about if it does work, you get a really good back timing in the bottom side. Sungyun doesn't have teleport. If he had teleport, he would have died, and it would have been a clean call there, so I wonder. They fully put all the eggs into the right basket there, but in this case, if you take down, flash heal, and get a bad back timing for the Sivir, maybe Yasuo and Asa can actually have the lane ascendancy with 3 scaling lanes like we mentioned, and they can run away with the game. Getting more gold into a game where eventually more gold suits your comp more than the enemy comp, that's what scaling comps means that you have just a higher chance of winning earlier. So I understand why they went for it. The execution after the taunt was tricky, and after, including the taunt, it's probably the best case scenario because Beryl just had no way to play.
Oh, there you go. Finally, the Battlestar comes in. Showmaker hit by the chains, but wins the trade and is actually winning the lane for now, at least slightly.
No level 6, of course. So without level 6, things are a little bit trickier for LeBlanc to just dunk on the enemy. So nice moves by Showmaker, and we're starting to understand why he felt bold enough to pick this into Hanwha Life. It's not quite Lava, who is probably the most famous LeBlanc player on this lineup, but Tempt has his moments. Showmaker has already thrift shopped his way to a Super Soaker, so for now can walk up pretty happily.
Bano skirting out of vision there wants to get that deeper control ward down. Not quite level 6. You were mentioning how these junglers, Lee Sin might just go to scale and say, okay, you know, let's see what happens at level 6. Maybe I can get my own gank off. Well, they went for a dive. Did go 1-for-1 in the end, but of course Nocturne just doing his thing, farming up about a camp and a half here, maybe 2 camps ahead of the Lee Sin. So about to hit level 6 here soon, maybe on that red buff.
After the dive, this lane going better than expected for Nuclear and Beryl. While we like the ranged advantage, should be noted that Sivir not known for her laning prowess, and Shen is always one of the weakest supports to draft. In a scenario like this, the only thing you can say about Shen is he has unbelievable value against Yasuo bot lane, because Spirit's Refuge is god tier when it comes to being able to negate damage. Melee champions versus Shen support is why we rate this lane in terms of post-level 3 laning. Because at the end of the day, taunt into Spirit's Refuge actually gets you just insane value, specifically against melee threats.
Bano not level 6 on that red buff actually, still waiting for one more camp, but how about an early gank up into the top side? Can make this happen even if the Aatrox does have flash and ult with the Urgot ultimate, if you can land it and drag him back, but they're not going to try for that one just yet. They're going to ping the Krugs, and he should definitely hit 6 off of that if he does wait around.
There's a chance he could sap experience if the wave is in the right spot, but understandably going to back away. This is the new timing for level 6 in a non-interactive game, closer to 8 minutes. About 7:30, 7:20 is the kind of min-max, and then from there, about 8 minutes if things don't go exactly as planned. So, level 6, like you mentioned, going to be picked up. See where the approach will be. Noguri has everything up, but typical Noguri, he's always under the enemy turret, always super pushed.
He doesn't really back off here, and Tal's build, kind of funny, just double Ruby Crystal and a bunch of sustain with that corrupting pot, and that's just about it. Punch getting aggressive in here to the blue buff, might be able to steal that away from LeBlanc.
It's the area they've controlled, and with the respawn on the walls, they're very confident that Nocturne is going to be a whiles away. They can even donate the blue buff over to Showmaker.
You can see all the red pings that were coming in this time around. Ooh.
No Paddle Star. No Resonating Strike. No problem this time for Tempt. Gets the bad news about the blue buff, and that does also baby Showmaker further through what we know is a really tricky lane for Zoe.
Yeah. He's having fun. He's up 20 CS with the babying that has come in, and you can say the same about the bottom side as well. The Yasuo very far ahead in this one too.
He's even been full bro tier status and actually upgraded the Targons. I imagine this was a gold issue or a gold decision. He backed with about 1,600 gold, clearly. But that means that Beryl, once again, might be able to go for a snowball support item, which could be really big. That was key in game number 1. This time, Beryl going to have a bit more income.
And you can see that punch not letting go of this Ocean Drake as Tempt, no mana. I mean, he doesn't have a blue buff, so he's backing right now. The Nocturne's in the top side, so they just say, hey, might as well take that early Ocean Drake here at 9.5 minutes. It's ours, it's free.
So how did DWG Gaming do this with what we called a scaling comp? And we should think about that. We should examine it, and other teams should think about it too. The proactive turret dive around the ability of Alistar, Yasuo, and Lee Sin to look for dives, disengage aggro, was a proactive move that warped this bot side of the map. It's all been influenced by, against a low agency jungler like Bono on this Nocturne, making a proactive move that Nocturne can't really shadow. He's a lot more predictable. But his jungle pathing to min-max a level 6 timing pre-8 minutes. And in that time, they've been able to find good news story after good news story. The first was the turret dive. The second one, the blue buff steal, which is from Vision laid earlier because they've controlled blue side quadrant of Hanwha Life Esports.
Wow, that's a very deep ward behind the turret, as there is the TP available right now for Tal, and of course level 6 here on Bono. Tempt hanging around if they really wanted to push some kind of 5-man. That would be a big ward to go for it, but it doesn't quite look like it just yet. As still waiting for that first paranoia of the game. Tempt actually in a bit of an awkward spot there. Used the double jump and almost got hit by that last Sleepy Trouble bubble. Would have meant a ton of damage going his way.
Watching this all here, all being contested, like you say, just no one will be scouting out that lane ward spot. So cute one there to pick up. Kind of a Rammus lane ward that we used to see in previous metas. The lane gang, spot
Here
lane, we're going hard.
Everybody's getting in there. No TP just yet. Insta-cleanse, and down will go Bono. And here is the cow as well. Should easily be able to get Songyun. Key desperately trying to tank the turret, but he sticks around and gives a free kill. Back to the side of Nuclear. A failed dive gives DAMWON Gaming 3 free kills.
Could there be any more insult upon injury? They go for the deep lane ward to look for that all-in Shen Nocturne Griffin style, and they get punished in the biggest way possible with so much aplomb. That was a set-piece play gone wrong, and they will lose 3 kills, more turret plates. Just a disaster for Hanwha Life.
I just got this face of horror right now, as I can hardly believe that that is what they went for. It just failed so, it fell so flat on its face. As we take another look here.
So there's no way for Sivir to join in. So instantly, you haven't done another 300 damage onto Yasuo. That means Yasuo can disengage. Punch is around for the counter gank, and then just everything slides into place in the biggest way possible. It couldn't have gone better for the reactive team.
Even Showmaker's there first. He's like, hey, let me help with this alley-oop, you know.
There's Flame joining in next to Coach Kim Jung-soo and the other analyst. He's not smiling. He's not involved today, but damn on the inside is feeling good because his team is looking like, with a 1-0 lead and that early game move, in a great spot to pick up what would be a pretty surprising 2-0.
Would be surprising. I mean, we were saying it was a 2-1. We were expecting also Hanwha Life to do a bit better, but they're not the team that showed up today. You take a look at the series of DAMWON up against Kingsun, and you're like, wow, okay, DAMWON, what is this exactly? Why are you getting crushed so hard? But they have certainly turned this around after a couple of big wins in a row that you were mentioning before, whereas Hanwha Life didn't quite show up on the same level. All the lanes are losing right now, and after that gank, even the jungle's losing, just everything is falling apart for Hanwha.
Yeah, and based on LCK expectation, you know, the Urgot into the Aatrox. The nameplate's off. I think you really like Tal's position in this map. But
Punch
Nalgari
didn't forget the Rift Herald, by the way.
No, he didn't. That's a
jungle difference, guys.
Big
there you
thumbs
go.
up to him after game number 1. I guess we have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Our LeBlancs have been having a field day on Zoe. We really don't consider Zoe a safe choice with LeBlanc available, and yet was drafted into it. And then bot lane, with how much value the Spirit's Refuge should be providing and the range advantage, thought that Sivir would at least be able to go competitive, but all rewritten by a really nice dive into just full game agency to DWG Gaming. And top side has been not discussed at all, and Nalgari's been able to just play like there's no enemy jungler, because effectively, especially after the ult bot lane being the first use of the ult, he hasn't had to worry about one at all.
That's very true. TP back over to the top side just to try to catch this wave. As nothing much going wrong. I'm sure Showmaker super happy about the newer, more aggressive and more skill-oriented mid lane matchups that we get nowadays. And you know, I mean, this could have been. This is a meta where we can see this matchup just done opposite as well. You know, one time one guy gets a Zoe, the other guy gets LeBlanc, and then the next time opposite. And
yep.
Showmaker's one of those guys that is going to try his hardest to prove that he's making the show, and he is the big skilled young player now in the LCK.
But it's only those last 4 games, the win streak DAMWON's on, where you could actually say that with a straight face, Valdez. You might have to say some action. They're considering their options here. The sleep
in goes Barrel, and oh boy, Yasuo is nearby. It's as easy as like a couple of button presses. Punch, nice kick over the wall, trying to get that LeBlanc into danger. Not quite going to kill him just yet, but Key is going to pay the price instead as Punch also gets away. It's utter disaster right now for Hanwha's DAMWON are crushing them in game 2.
Teamfight conceptualization from Punch doesn't pay off in the biggest way possible, but it looks damn cool along the way to another DAMWON victory. And the point I was getting to, Valdez, is this is Showmaker week 4 onwards. Previously, he was looking like a guy out of meta. He looked like Peanut in a...
And he was.
You know, a Peanut in a tank jungle meta in previous years where you're like, okay, we know this guy is good, but he's just not performing because of the picks that are in. You're right. Now the fans are seeing on the LCK stage what Showmaker can do when he's not shackled to Urgot and Lissandra and Galio. He looked uncomfortable on those picks in Kesper Cup. Same story at the start of LCK. Now that he's going for damage carries, we get to see the name and actually understand why he considers himself a Showmaker.
Nice engage by Barrel, and you see that Punch goes for the
He
King
flashes
Flash.
over the ultimate there, the Fear Beyond Death that would have armed on him as well and can skip
and
out.
And gets the LeBlanc over the wall as well. It was the perfect play, basically, from the side of Punch, and that's what we wanted from his Lee Sin. We finally get to see it again, and, well, I feel like this guy is here to stay in the jungle. He's 4-0-2, 100% kill participation in game 2. This guy's a bit of a beast on this pick.
Pull one out for the Jug King, stuck in solo queue is Canyon, still 17, he still has time, but Punch, if they win this series 2-0, is on a 6-game winning streak in the LCK, 5-game winning streak, I should say, and you know what, if he's getting the Lee Sin, just like Bono with the Olaf in previous games, you're starting to think, maybe you got to start banning away a couple of his picks and get Punch onto the teams he struggled on in the LCK a couple of years ago.
You're mentioning the Galio, Lissandra, Urgot meta. Well, Showmaker before this played 4 games of Galio, 3 games of Lissandra, 2 games of Urgot, and 1 game of Sion as well.
And those are all champions that he looked, you know, bottom half in his role on. He was not a top 5 on any of those picks. And his Lissandra evolved to be fine. If you remember at Kesper Cup, he was a pretty rotten Lissandra player, and okay on Galio purely because he could just ult in reactively.
Press a Q and do damage.
This guy's the Katarina one trick, right? And it's understandable that when you're role-playing a tank, you're like, this isn't a reset at all. And that's just the reality of that. The moment that I was really sad about Showmaker was when, if you remember, there was a blind pick on a champion you could definitely take Cat into on that, and that he played the same matchup on in solo queue. I think it was... I don't know if it was a Zoe in the first week, but it was a champion that he really liked Cat into. He played 3 or 4 games in solo queue that matchup, and he went something like Sion, and I was like, come on, Showmaker, where are we at? This Showmaker is games away, not weeks away, but games away from unleashing Cat. And if Kesper Cup's any indication, Cat Blind is something DAMWON Gaming consider from time to time.
Yeah, you know, maybe even just try it out up against the lower level teams and see what happens. Still looking for it, well...
That's the Showmaker we love to see.
Really enjoying this show. I'm sure his Twitch chat as well. That's just the caster curse coming on in. We say a bunch of good stuff about him, and then he just flubs one of those ones. Might even die here as well as in goes the side of Hanwha Life. But there is an item called a stopwatch, and Showmaker is going to be okay this time around. Barrel looking for that engage. That's an angry cow. He waits on the engage. Doesn't quite get it. as Spell Shield does come in, just threatening there on the edge there.
I wonder if that was a range thing or just an outplay, because he actually flashed and got 2 enemy flashes, including Sivir. So actually, without going in there, you don't take turret aggro. So it's actually the right move in hindsight, but we are unsure how much effect there was. Here he is again.
Here he is, a huge Hex Splash. He gets 2 in the back line as the destruction continues. DWG Gaming looking unbelievable in this one as Nuclear going Nuclear in the backside. Should be the clean ace to the side of DWG Gaming. Bloodwell is up, and 5 members go down on the side of Hanwha Life.
Confirmed KR flash. Looked like an NA to some. KR confirmed the Hex Flash over the wall with the control ward down. Gets into the back line, and they might just end the game. If not, they put a lethal dagger through the heart of Hanwha Life Esports.
What a fight. Didn't look like there was much of a ward over the wall, and Beryl comes back with this cow. You don't want to expend 2 bans for this guy, but man, his Alistar is damn clean.
That was really cool. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt in hindsight now, because he sets up this play where Songyun says, I'd really like to wave clear. They know 2 flashes are down. They were used a second earlier. Yasuo joins. He even goes for a turret dive later into this play. They pile on, and DWG Gaming team fight ready and then some, way earlier than expected.
And once you get a couple, when you're this far ahead, obviously, just the dominoes keep falling. Not much to stop them there. It was 5-0, going the way of DWG, who are now 11-1 in kills. The only thing that stops it from being a perfect game is that 1 kill that went onto the Alistar. So,
speaking of,
man, okay. Well,
zoning Q there, all calculated from Beryl.
They call that the shotgun in Korea. When you shotgun your keyboard, when you're really mad at the PC bong, they call that shotgunning. That's what they say about Alistar when he slams the ground and messes up his combo. It's kind of funny. Yeah,
I appreciate that. Bit of baby rage moment from there. Well, let's try Zoe again.
Well, he does have a flash. Is going to easily be able to flash away from that one, and Punch is just going to get another kill onto his board as Songyun desperately trying, but that's a huge redemption. And a big paddle star going the way of DWG. Okay, there's a big beast behind you. Forgot about Nuguri. Well, not forgetting about him now as he's going to stomp on Tempt, and this is once again just the slaughter going the way of DWG. They're not going to even let the Shen live, as he will also go down. Another clean ace goes the way of Hanwha, or rather DWG Gaming, as they should be able to push this one to the victory.
They're going to look for the end here. Could there be a sadder journal entry than every Bono ultimate this game? Everyone turned against him in criminal fashion. DWG Gaming going to win 2-0 in a must-win series for both these teams and confirm their candidacy for the playoff spots.
Wow, that was one of the most one-sided games we've had here as well in the LCK. It was before 22 minutes. I mean, that was one of the quickest, if not the quickest, we have had here in spring.
We were, before this game, 23-36 for this season. So yes, confirmed to be the fastest game of LCK spring. Speed running through and slamming Hanwha Life Esports into the ground. A lot of smiles here, and it's with even a different roster. He hasn't been on stage. He doesn't know. Bono didn't know. Beryl doesn't know either, but he should know that he put in quite the spirited performance on that Alistar. Great stuff from DWG Gaming with Punch and Beryl in the lineup. They're showing that with Flame being added to what they already had, there's a lot of weapons on the team of DWG.
Really got to admire them as well, as it felt like things were taking a turn for the worse after they lost to Griffin, to SKT, to Sandbox. 3 really rough teams. They get close to SKT and Sandbox. They take 1 game. And then after that, they lose to Kingzone, and you're like, oh man, what happened to DAMWON? Well, they've turned it around big time. They take out Afrika Engineer, and now Hanwha Life in 3 2-0s in a row. After a couple of changes to the lineup, a new meta for Showmaker, this is looking like one of our stronger teams here in the LCK.
If you're DWG Gaming, and you're sitting there right now, 5-4 in the first round robin, you're not happy, but you're kind of content, and you say, let's beat Kingzone in the revenge match. Yeah. Let's beat Sandbox, especially if Sandbox start to fall away with some meta changes. And if everything else goes as expected, that's a pretty good debut season in the LCK. And then it comes down to the gauntlet. Will they rise to the level of the gauntlet? Will they struggle? That remains to be seen. But otherwise, things outside the Kingzone loss are pretty understandable.
Yeah.
And the 6-0 run prepares them for what is a difficult schedule for most. Let's have a look at our timetable here. The next time DWG Gaming hit the Rift, it's going to be hard to extend that winning streak. But damned if it's not an exciting one. Atlas and LS will bring DAMWON Gaming versus SKT on Sunday.
That's a big one.
And this is a DAMWON Gaming that shouldn't roll over like some other opposition.
Pretty sure the thing on the left is supposed to be a raccoon, as it does say Nagori Base, which I don't really know how to translate that, but maybe just some positive emotions going towards him. Another great game on the Aatrox. And Nuclear also popping off on the Yasuo. But to be honest, it was really all the amazing engages that his support put in. He pressed his buttons, he had his last breath, and did a lot of damage on the Yasuo. The pick worked out. You know, we were talking about that draft and how it was supposed to scale and fall a bit behind, but they dominated every lane and crushed Hanwha.
Who gets the MVP? Because I think Beryl should pick it up in this game. Punch, you could argue.
Yeah, put him in right now. That's my pick immediately. Beryl, 100%.
I still feel like, even though I'm like Beryl, and I'm like maybe Punch, I feel like it's going to be a Nuclear win. So I'm going to wait and see.
I'm just going to...
We don't get a vote at Riot
Might
anymore.
have to pull an LS and just... As that, you know... I mean, he presses our button. That's, you know, he did that well. But that's about it. You know, Punch's positioning to, well...
Hi, Korean casters. Sung K in the middle, by the way. It was his birthday yesterday. We mentioned it, so we already mentioned him happy birthday in person as well. Aging like a fine wine, that man. Very handsome.
He's up to like 43, but he doesn't look a day over 35. Just feeling pretty good, casting well as well. You think we're going to be around casting until we're that old?
At 43? That's a couple of weeks for me, right, at this point?
Just a couple of white hairs and the beard away, and you're
People
nearly
look
there.
at me and they're like, they can't decide if I'm 23 or 53, so I got that going on. Maybe I can be Leslie Nielsen as I age, sweet. Look at the replay of this game. I don't think it aged very well for Hanwha Life Esports. This was where the taunt started, and you said, okay, but you commended the play, because you're like, okay, these lanes can be tricky. Let's start diving and make it about DAMWON Gaming, not about Hanwha Life and what they could potentially do in the early game. And that was confirmed as it went on. The blue buff steal meant LeBlanc never really got going. And when the dive started, the game ended real fast.
So nice. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you take Hex Flash on Alistair. You control ward where they have vision. The one thing that was really funny is that Shen, he puts a control ward right as the Hex Flash is about to complete. He's like, uh-oh, I'm in danger. You know that meme where it's like, uh-oh, we got an Alistair right in our face. And well, when you're this far behind, Nocturne looks pretty silly. And he did for most of the game, as Bono really wasn't able to do much in this one.
And we come away and we have to say what we learned, which is DAMWON Gaming looking like the real deal today. And Hanwha Life, unfortunately, PTSD from all those previous seasons where they were definitely good, but not good enough. When it counted, today was one of those days where, yes, the season is only at its halfway point, but this is where we were looking for them to perform against a fellow contender for top 5, and especially in game 2. 21-51, one of the fastest games in recent memory. They were obliterated.
The only kill that happened was in the bottom lane dive, which was just the beginning of DAMWON saying, this is our game, we are going to destroy you. And it was an Alistair, you know, it was the support. And that was it. That was the only kill, the only anything in this game. The damage numbers are pitiful on the side of Hanwha, and well,
yeah, think about it.
DAMWON popping off.
The turret got that kill.
Yeah.
It was an assist to the Shen, so yeah, definitely not what you wanted to see, but let's get that confirmation of MVP. I hear it's coming, and we're both at an odds. I think it is probably not going to be the one we want.
It's got to be Beryl.
Come on, I hope so.
It's okay. I mean, this is the other guy where we're like, okay, we understand, you know?
And we got the confirmation that at 15 minutes in, 100% kill participation when the game was won through proactivity, so we can accept this one. This was Bono, who had just the saddest Nocturne day ever. The paranoia, I think it will end up more with Nocturne than with the enemies.
And with Bono, he's not feeling good about that one, as Punch in position, gets that damage down to save Nuclear, and once you go that deep and you can't get out of that
you
one.
only get one replay.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're not going to show you that amazing play around the enemy Raptors. That's for the VOD watchers, so you don't get to see it if you tuned in late. Go back and watch it.
That is definitely, A+, if not S tier Lee Sin play. He dodges the fear beyond death. He gets him over the wall. It was insane. I'm going to hand it over to Ji-sun. She's going to translate the interview. We'll see you in a bit.
Thank you very much, guys. We're going to be joined by Showmaker and Punch from
네,
DWG.
벌써 3연속 듀오로 지금 받고 계세요. 오늘
You guys
승리가
are all
어떠신가요?
on the stage for 3 games in a row. How do you feel right now? It was a quite of a clean match, so I'm really happy.
저번에 이긴다고
So last time I made a promise to win today,
오늘은 또
and I'm
경기
really
시간도
happy that I
엄청
did pull that off.
빨랐어요. 2세트가 21분
The game was
51초로
really fast.
스프링 최단 경기
It was the
시간을
fastest match of the
지냈습니다.
LCK Spring Split. Congratulations.
감사합니다.
Thank you.
자, 펀치 선수도
And
어떠세요?
Punch,
이제
how do you
좀
feel?
LCK 익숙해지시고
Are you getting
마음도
used to the LCK
편해지셨나요?
stage?
오늘 좀 피곤해가지고
I was feeling a bit tired before game, so I asked the players to let's end it quickly. So I'm really happy
야,
that our players
세트에
actually did
펀치
that.
선수가 정말 날아다니는 모습이 퇴근에 대한 열망
Punch, you were
때문이거든요.
dominating. I guess you really wanted to go home.
싶어가지고
Yes, yeah, I really wanted to go home
자, 1세트
early.
얘기해 보겠습니다. 상대 요릭을 상대로
Game 1.
피오라 픽을 했어요.
You guys
너구
lost
선수
in
어떤
Fiora
생각인지
against Yorick.
말씀하셨나요?
Did Noguri give any comments about that?
요릭 상대로 그 피오라가
Well,
좋다고 알려져 있어서
Fiora is known for being a really good counter champion against Yorick, but I have no idea.
네, 알겠습니다. 나중에 너구리 선수에게
Well,
여쭤보도록 하고요.
then we're gonna ask
자,
a question
르블랑
about that to
정말
Noguri
오늘
next time.
엄청났습니다.
Let's
1세트에
talk about
직접
LeBlanc
하실
then.
때는 엄청나게 강해 보였는데
LeBlanc
2세트에
looked really
상대가
strong
나왔을
in game
때는
1, but
많이 압박을 하는
when
모습이었어요.
Tempt was
르블랑
playing
어떻게
LeBlanc,
대처하면
actually you
좋을까요?
were
어떻게
giving a
하면
lot of pressure
잘
on
될수
her.
있을까요?
So what kind of good strategy you can play on LeBlanc?
제가 처음에 그잘
At
풀린
first,
것도
well,
정글러가 와서 잘 풀렸잖아요.
I had Punch near me.
안 당해주면
That was how I fed really well in the early games. So if you don't get ganked in the early phase, I think it's really easy to play LeBlanc.
르블랑은 어떠셨어요? 어떻게
Then
풀어나가야겠다고
What are your thoughts
생각하셨나요?
about Syndra versus LeBlanc matchup? Well, the better player wins in that matchup. So, and I'm quite confident in that kind of matchup. So I was doing it with my full confidence.
모습이었어요.
Well, I mean I am really confident in
자,
Syndra
그리고
versus
1세트에
LeBlanc matchup.
인상적인 장면이 나왔습니다. 상대가 바론을 치고
We
있을
have
때
this
너구
outplay
선수가
here.
집을 공략하고
When
있었는데요.
Hanwha Life players
장면
were
보면서
trying
얘기
Baron,
나눌게요.
actually Noguri was just taking out all the turrets
네,
and
이때
the
서로
inhibitor.
생각해보겠습니다.
What was going on over there?
피오라가 합류할까 말까라고 계속 물어봤고
So Noguri was asking whether he has to
스틸 노리면서
like
약간
group
진만
up
끊으시려고
or just
했었어요.
keep pushing the
근데 정글이
bot lane.
뺏어가지고 끝낼 수 있었는데
well we
좀
asked.
아쉽긴 하네요.
Well, there was a bit of an accident on Punch, but it did end well. So I'm actually happy. We were
원래 스틸만 보면서
well, our original plan was just stealing the Baron and just racing for the base, but
네, 너구리 선수가
Yeah,
마지막에
that's how it
장면에서
ended.
굉장히 끝까지 도망을 잘
Noguri
가면서 실패
actually managed to survive
가지지는
really
못하고
long.
결국에 죽긴 했지만
at
시간이
that
많이
moment in the
끌었는데요.
end.
그때 팀원들이 응원 많이
Did you
했어요,
guys
펀치
cheer
선수.
for him at that moment?
그때 그냥 피오라 화면 안 보고 그냥
Well, I wasn't paying attention to Fiora. I was doing my own job looking at my screen. So
담원 선수도 서로에게 별로 관심이 없나 봐요.
I guess you guys don't really care about each other.
자기 화면 보는 게
Yeah, we all just pay attention to our own
아, 네,
screens
맞는
and we are
말씀입니다.
focusing
자,
on our
2세트
own
얘기해
plays.
보겠습니다. 특히 리신 정말 파괴적인
In game 2,
공격이었습니다.
Lee Sin
1세트와는
was
또
destroying
다른
everybody.
모습이었는데요. 라인전부터 압도를 했습니다. 자신감을 많이 얻은
Do you have
듯한데
a lot of
최근에
confidence in
연승한
Lee
게
Sin?
영향이 있나요? 분위기가
Does the
좀
win streak
달라졌나요?
actually give positive influence on you guys?
최근에
Yeah, I have to agree.
좀 자신감이 붙어서
And right now, I think my performance is kind of on point now. So I
네,
feeling a
오늘
bit
펀치
more
선수의
confident
빠른 퇴근을
on
위한
stage.
플레이도 있었고요.
And also you wanted to go home early, right? And there was this highlight in the early game.
화면 한번 보면서 얘기 나눌게요.
Let's check out this clip over here.
이때 좀 뭔가 일어날 것 같다.
Did
이런
you feel it
생각이
coming,
들었는데
this dive?
이렇게 불을 껐습니다.
It was a really great counterplay from
어떻게
you,
받아치셨나요?
Punch.
아 이거 사실 상대가 이렇게 다이브를 할 줄 몰랐는데 좀
Well, I didn't really expect this dive coming.
꽁킬 같은 느낌이었어요.
I thought it was like a free kill for me because like I actually didn't even imagine that they will ever pull that off.
잘왔다 이 생각을 하셨어요.
So were you happy when they actually tried to dive?
급하신 것 같아요.
Yeah, they shouldn't have done that. I mean, I think they were in a bit of a rush.
탑 정말 엄청납니다. 아까도 말씀드렸듯이 3연속 MVP인데요.
And you guys are picking up MVP for 3 matches in a row. What are the strengths of each other? Well, Punch, he is good.
네, 잘하는 펀치 선수입니다.
And what about you, the good player?
오늘 첫 번째 판 MVP가
To be honest,
얘 받을 줄 몰랐거든요.
I didn't expect him to be the MVP for Game 1. I thought it was Noguri.
딱 대기실 들어갔는데 얘가 있어가지고
And
뭐지 했는데
I was really
어쨌든
feeling
선수
weird seeing him as
좀
an MVP, waiting for the MVP interview.
신인인데
But I mean,
신인답지 않게 좀
well,
긴장도 좀 덜하고
he's a
잘하는
rookie
그런
player, but I
분인 것 같아요.
think he doesn't really get
네,
nervous
펀치
and
선수의
doing really well on stage. So
날카로운
maybe that's the
오늘도
strength
첫
of
데뷔전을
Showmaker.
치른 베릴 선수 있습니다.
And Beryl also had
많이
his first game at
긴장해
LCK.
보이더라고요.
He seemed a
어,
little bit
괜찮으셨나요?
nervous.
진짜 많이 긴장한 것 같더라고요.
Yeah, he
그래서
was indeed very
이제
nervous.
앞전말 쓰고 땅에
He was
확
like
뿌리면서
doing weird
깜짝
flashes
놀라긴
and also hitting the
정신 잘 차려준 것 같아요.
punch on the ground, you know, the
네,
missing all the
베릴
cues.
선수
So
힘내시라고 한
I just
말씀
wanted him here
부탁드릴게요.
to be cheer up.
뭐 앞으로 뭐 청심환만 잘 챙겨 먹고 하면은
You know, if you just take some good
이게 없을
medicine
것
that
같아요.
make you
청심환
feel
챙겨드시나요?
comfortable and
네,
relieved,
선수랑
you will do
그냥
better.
맨날 챙겨 먹거든요.
알고 보니까 청심환 챙겨 드시고
아.
계셨어요?
It was the medicine that
약이
helped
없으면
you feel
못해요.
like relaxed on stage.
지금 요즘에 그 발언 위험합니다.
아 죄송합니다.
네, 넘어가도록 하겠습니다. 자, 이제 1라운드 마지막
So,
경기 장식을 해주셨고요.
This was the
2라운드
final match
시작입니다.
of the
목표로
first
하고
round
계신 게
robin.
있나요?
What's your goal for the second round?
지금 3연승이니까 좀
So we're on a 3 games win streak. I want to stack it up to 4, 5, and
2라운드
6.
때는 이제 다 이겨서
And
14승
in
4패
the
그렇게 마무리하려고
Second round robin, I want to make it to
연승을
14
이어가겠다는
wins
강한
and,
의지를 밝혀주셨습니다.
well, maybe 5
펀치
losses.
선수는요?
What about you, Punch?
지금 2라운드를 거의 다 이긴다고 쳐도 사실 그리핀이
Even
지금
though
전승이라서 좀
we
어렵긴
win all
한데
the
2라운드 때
games
일단
in round
그리핀 한번
2,
잡고
You
2등으로
know,
마무리하고
Griffin will
싶어요.
still be number 1, so
네,
I want to take down
기대해보도록
Griffin
하겠습니다.
and
네,
make it
쇼메이커
up to the
선수
second
펀치
place.
선수 감사합니다.
So thank you very much for today's interview, and I'm gonna
네,
pass
1라운드
it back to our
마지막 경기
casters.
MVP
Thank you.
만나봤습니다. 중계선 연결할게요.
Thank you, Ji-sun, as always, for that translation. And, well, I don't know what to say about that
I
one.
think Punch was using substances as a metaphor there, but if not, maybe we need some random testing going on here.
Yeah.
But whatever special stuff has got them a 6-game victory, keep doing
The
it.
medicine of confidence is coming through for him.
Keep doing it. It's working.
Yeah.
Stay away from the cops, apparently.
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't know, guys. I don't know.
I mean, there's like this traditional medicine that they have here in Korea. They they have the ginseng and stuff
Yes.
like that.
Yep.
Well, I think that's what he's talking about, but immediately Mina Kim is like, well, it's probably not a good idea to talk about that. We'll skip over that for now. Anyway, that's how she went into the next part, but it's kind of funny. Either
Yeah.
way, whatever they are doing is helping them win a bunch of games, especially in that second one, as Punch does get the MVP 7-0-7, and they move into 4th place, and Hanwha Life skips straight over King Zone into the eastern section of the bracket, into 6th place.
They may be 2 sets away from Afrika, but with Afrika's performance yesterday and just finding yourself in 6th spot, you know, there's a lot of work to be done. DAMWON Gaming also, with that 6-game winning streak, has rescued their game score. They're +4 now. Still far away. It feels like we got a top 3, a middle 3, a bottom 3, and Jin Air. And of course, that's a bit generous to Sandbox and SKT, given their own separation from
Yeah.
Griffin, but we're finally starting to get some order to the chaos. However, with Afrika on the up and potentially Sandbox on the down, when will this LCK Spring musical chairs end? When will this break end? It's a long one, Valdez.
It's a big one. We're here at 6:46. We should restart at about 7:50, so bit over an hour for you guys here. Once we will start that next series, will be KT versus Griffin. We'll see you in about an hour for that next series.